Hey guys, Dr. Shelly here. I'm going to share with you the two most common reasons why you get a headache. And chances are, if you're watching this, you've already had at least one headache this year. Headaches affect 90% of our population. That's almost everybody. And the 10% that don't get headaches, they're like unicorns. So this is a really important topic, and I'm going to make it as simple and easy to understand as I can. I'm going to go over the two most common reasons why you would get a headache, and just stick with me to the end because I'm going to share with you some things that you could do to prevent headaches and what you could do if you have a headache already, how to make it go away quicker. So here we go. What is a headache? All right. Headaches occur when brain neurons in your brain get irritated and they start firing a lot. These neurons can get irritated by chemicals, and I'll go over some chemicals that can irritate them, but they can also be irritated by vasodilation of cerebral blood vessels. So you have blood vessels in your brain that your body put there so that you can bring oxygen up to feed your brain. The neurons, they wrap around those vessels. So when you have vasodilation, meaning the blood vessels got bigger, it irritates those nerves that are wrapped around it, and those nerves start firing more than they normally do, and then you have a headache. So let's talk about reason number one that you have a headache, and that's vasodilation of your cerebral blood vessels. So usually, the blood vessels are going to dilate and get bigger in response to low oxygen levels, okay? Because the more blood that can go to your brain, the more oxygen can go to your brain. And you need oxygen in your brain. So there's a couple different reasons why you would have low oxygen levels causing those blood vessels to dilate. I'm going to talk about three of them. The first one is stress. When you're stressed, your body enters into a sympathetic state, and that overrides your parasympathetic nervous system, okay? When you're in a sympathetic state, that's like your fight or flight state. That's like you are on guard, you are awake and alert, and you can, react really quickly. Your diaphragm is innervated by your vagus nerve, which is under parasympathetic control. So when you go into a sympathetic state, it inhibits the parasympathetic nervous system, meaning your vagus nerve, okay? And it causes you not to take deep breaths. You start breathing a little bit more shallow when you're in this sympathetic state, causing your oxygen levels to go down. And again, when your oxygen levels go down, your cerebral blood vessels will dilate to bring more blood to your brain, more oxygen to your brain, so you don't die, so you can live through a little bit of stress. It's amazing how the body does that. The second reason you can have vasodilation of your cerebral blood vessels are statin drugs. And I'm going to share this information. It is up to you whether or not you want to continue taking your statins or not, but I want to at least inform you, if you are taking statins, why it might be causing your headaches. So statins lower your LDL cholesterol. And it's interesting because the way that they work by destroying the part of your liver that actually makes that cholesterol. So even though you'll go get your blood work done and your cholesterol levels will have gone down, it actually destroyed the part of your liver that was making the cholesterol. Crazy, right? I think it's crazy. So that area of your liver is also the same area that makes CoQ10. And CoQ10 is important in carrying oxygen, especially to your brain. It carries oxygen all over your body, but we're talking about headaches, so we need to discuss how CoQ10 carries oxygen to your brain. So if you take statins and it destroys the part of your liver that's making CoQ10, you now don't have very much CoQ10. You might have lower cholesterol levels, but you also have lower CoQ10 levels. So not only can this lead to headaches, but it can lead to things like Alzheimer's disease, and maybe I'll do a different video on that. But for this sake, if you take statins, it is causing, in the long run, vasodilation of your cerebral blood vessels, which causes headaches. So the third reason why the cerebral blood vessels can become dilated is because of blood loss. And this is why if you have your period, if you're a woman and you have your period every month, that you could get headaches around that time of the month because you're losing a little bit of blood. When you lose blood, you're actually losing some hemoglobin molecules, and those are responsible for carrying oxygen. So just like statins that decrease your the oxygen capacity of your blood loss can also do that. So other reasons why you could be bleeding besides the obvious, like if you hurt yourself and you lost a lot of blood, you could have like a gastric ulcer, so you could be bleeding a little bit in your gut, and that could be reducing some of your blood volume. There's a lot of different reasons, anemia, but the point I want you to get from that is that if you have decreased hemoglobin because of blood loss, you're gonna also have decreased oxygen traveling around your body and to your brain, causing vasodilation. So that's number one, why you have a headache, okay? The blood vessels in your brain got bigger. Reason number two is the nerves that wrap around those blood vessels are irritated. And like I already mentioned, one of the reasons they can become irritated is because those vessels dilated and got bigger, pushed on them a little bit, and now they're irritated. But there's some other reasons why those nerves can become irritated regardless of vasodilation. And this is the part that you guys can have the biggest impact on your lives and preventing headaches, what I'm about to say. The nerves in your brain become excited when certain chemicals are introduced into your body, all right? And there are two chemicals in particular that are huge culprits of headaches, and I have recommended to my patients to stop consuming these two products, and people who are getting headaches for years, their headaches are gone. It's like magical, okay? And then they get to be a unicorn, like the 10% of us who don't get headaches, and the 90% of people who continue getting headaches. A huge portion of those people are consuming these two chemicals. The first one is aspartame, and aspartame is also known as NutraSweet, okay? And it is in so many, I feel like when you go to the grocery store and you look at the ingredients, it's in more ingredients than it's not, all right? And aspartame is an artificial sweetener, and it breaks down into three different things, which is the reason it excites nerves and causes headaches. So the three things that aspartame breaks down into is aspartic acid, and aspartic acid causes the NMDA receptors to fire more than they normally do. And sometimes it causes those receptors to fire so much that it causes them to die, which is really not good. And this is real, guys, and it's in the ingredients and stuff that I'm sure you have in your house. It's a big deal. What you're consuming, the aspartame, is actually destroying these receptors in your brain, okay? Let alone causing a headache. So just be really diligent in looking at the ingredients on packaging, okay? So aspartame breaks down to three things. The aspartic acid, right? The second thing is methanol. And methanol is an ingredient that you can find in antifreeze. And you wouldn't drink antifreeze, right? But you'll drink a Diet Coke with aspartame in it. So just think about that for a second. Methanol, which is an antifreeze, can only be cleared from your body at a rate of about 7 milliliters per day, which is not very much. So think about it like this. 1 liter of Diet Coke, okay? It has 56 milliliters of methanol. So if you can only get rid of 7 milliliters of it at a time each day, think about how many days it takes your body to clear the methanol from drinking 1 liter of Diet Coke. So you might drink a Diet Coke and have a headache 3 days later because the methanol is still affecting your system. The third thing that aspartame breaks down into, and if you didn't know this should blow your mind, okay? The third thing it breaks down into is formaldehyde. And most of us know that formaldehyde is a chemical that's used to embalm dead bodies, okay? It's a preservative. That's why we use it to preserve cadavers. But because it's a preservative, think about that. You're consuming that. You're putting that into your body. It is a known carcinogen. You can look it up on the CDC website. I'm not even making that up. So yes, aspartame is not on the CDC website as something that causes cancer. But if you break it down in the body into those three things, one of those three things causes cancer. So I used to drink a lot of diet soda. I will admit it. This was like maybe a decade ago. I was like diet soda, every diet root beer, diet everything, okay? And until I learned about this specific point, that what the aspartame breaks down into, I had no plans of stopping or switching to a different beverage, okay? But now that I know this, it literally would be stupid of me to go drink a diet soda when there's water and so many other options. And just be careful because aspartame is in a lot of other things, not just beverages. It's in a lot of sugar-free protein bars, and it's in things that you wouldn't even think to. I mean, I've seen it in ketchup. I've seen it in salad dressing. So just be really careful and look for that on packaging. It's also known as NutraSweet. It has a couple other names too, but just be really careful about that one. The second chemical I want to talk about that can cause the nerves in your brain to become more excited is MSG. And if you're somebody who has suffered from migraines, then you know that you don't go order Chinese food with MSG in it. And it might be a common thing for you to say, hey, can I get that MSG free? So MSG is basically salt, okay? And that's why Chinese food and a lot of fast foods have MSG in it, because it makes food taste amazing, okay? Your tongue likes it, your brain likes it, and it's in everything. It's monosodium glutamate. So it's monosodium, right? Because it's a salt, glutamate. And what happens though is that it actually causes the glutamate receptors in your brain, the nerve receptors for the glutamate ones, to fire a ton. And just like aspartame, it can cause those receptors to fire so much that they eventually die. They'll give you a headache first, but then they'll die. So MSG, even if you don't suffer from headaches or migraines, is not a good thing to consume at all. I would stay away from that if I were you. It also is in a lot of processed food. So I mentioned fast food, but it's also in a lot of processed food, and like Doritos and things that are packaged, because again, it's addicting. So you keep going back for more, and it makes things taste amazing. So you can keep food quality pretty poor and cheap. You add a little MSG to it, and all of a sudden, it's the most delicious thing you've eaten all day. So just stay away from it. It's not good. Use regular salt. Regular salt is good for you, okay? Let me tell you what you can do now. Besides avoiding all the things I just mentioned, what can you do if you already have a headache, okay? If your headache is caused by either of the two main causes I just mentioned, what you can do, the easiest thing to do, is be really conscious of breathing a little deeper, okay? Again, when you get stressed and your breathing is shallow, it's a normal neurological response to stress. Just take a couple minutes and just be really conscious. Breathe, put oxygen into your body. Even if your oxygen levels are low because of something like blood loss, this will still help. It will help oxygenate your blood. So your blood vessels in your brain will get a little bit smaller. The nerves won't be as irritated. That is the easiest thing to do. I'm a chiropractor, so of course I have to talk about chiropractic when it comes to headaches. So sometimes, and this is not a reason that I discussed with you that you could get a headache, but sometimes you can have a cervicogenic headache, meaning your headache came from your cervical spine. Obviously, if you get adjusted, it's going to take care of that. Most chiropractors out there, there's no debate, there's no argument about the fact that chiropractic is amazing for neck pain, back pain, and headaches. Chiropractic is amazing for so much more than that, but the things that are easy for us to treat, neck pain, back pain, and headaches. So if you have a headache and you haven't gone to a chiropractor, maybe you like having a headache, or maybe you think we're unicorns and you don't want to go visit a chiropractor. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now that it is the easiest, quickest way to handle a headache if the cause is coming from your neck. If the cause is vasodilation and you have decreased oxygen in your blood, going and getting adjusted could also help, because there are parts of your body, especially like the middle part of your back here, where if you get that area adjusted, you'll actually start breathing deeper because everything's moving better. The ribs are moving better. You have more chest expansion to get more oxygen into your lungs. So that's another reason why getting adjusted can help if the cause of your headache was decreased oxygen levels in your blood. Going to a chiropractor is amazing if you guys haven't already noticed. And I know most of you who are watching this don't even live near where I practice, but if you need to find someone near you, just reach out to me. I can help you find someone. I know people all over the country who are good, who will be more than happy to adjust you. So let's see so far, avoid the chemicals I talked about, take deep breaths, go get adjusted, okay? And then there's supplements. So there are some supplements that you can take if you're someone who's prone to having headaches. I mentioned how you need CoQ10 in order to have oxygen transported to your brain properly. It's also an amazing antioxidant. You can take a CoQ10 supplement, and I recommend if you go and buy a CoQ10 supplement, it's going to say ubiquinol or ubiquinone on the bottle of CoQ10. Ubiquinone is way less expensive, but ubiquinol is way more effective. In fact, it's something like 8 times more effective than ubiquinone. So if I were you, spend a couple extra dollars and get a bottle of ubiquinol, ubiquinol, especially if you're taking a statin. If you are taking a statin and you are not supplementing with CoQ10, that is not wise at all. In Canada, where they also write prescriptions for statin drugs, they put the CoQ10 in the drug because they know that it's going to reduce the amount of CoQ10 in your body. So they're trying to replace it. This country, we don't do that. So go to the store, buy yourself some CoQ10, okay? If you can't afford ubiquinol, get ubiquinone and just load up on it, all right? Like at least 100 milligrams a day. If you don't listen to anything else I tell you in this video, do that. Okay. There's other supplements that can help also. There's Ferrofood from Standard Process, which is an awesome whole food iron supplement. And again, if you have anemia and blood loss, a lot of people can benefit from a little bit of extra iron. There's a ton of other supplements. If you guys specifically want recommendations for you, just reach out to me and I can point you in the right direction. You can order stuff online, or if you live close to my office, you can come pick something up. That's not what this video is about, though. This video is about educating you on why you have a headache. It is not random. It's not like, oh, I just don't know why I have a headache today. I'm telling you, there's 2 reasons. Either vasodilation in your brain because you have decreased oxygen levels, or excitation of the nervous system the nerves in your brain. So when you have a headache next, which I hope you never do because you avoided all the things I just mentioned, but if you get a headache again, just remember, okay, vasodilation, or my nerves are really excited in my brain, or I need to go see my chiropractor. That would be probably the wisest thing to do. So I hope this helps you guys. Headaches, again, they affect 90% of our population. So chances are if you watch this, you've had a headache this year already, or if you haven't, you probably will, because 90% of the population, that's 9 out of 10 people, okay? So for every person who has watched this video, for every 10 of you, 9 either has a headache now or has had a headache recently or is about to. And that's huge. So if I can share this information with you guys and it can make a difference in your life, then I can sleep better at night, and that's why I'm here. So reach out to me if you have any questions. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I love feedback about these. So please leave me feedback. I will respond to you. I will love you forever, and share this with your friends, especially the ones who are drinking diet soda still. See you guys in the next video.